Welcome back to the Magnolia Shine podcast. I'm your host, Trellis Williams, alongside the one and only Blake Levine. Blake, man, something's looking different about you. I just can't put my finger on
Yeah, maybe I'm just going bald
it.
here. I did say to you that if Mississippi State lost, I'd shave the mustache. I was so confident that they were gonna that this was come on. I didn't think it was ever gonna be a matchup. So instead, I just did that. But I will tell you something. I know this is our college football podcast, but later tonight on my TikTok, I have a video where I guarantee or the mustache goes. So if you want to
Oh,
chime
another.
in, chime into the Magnolia Shine podcast TikTok, you'll see another mustache bet.
Okay, Blake, are you just trying to get rid of the mustache? Is that what it is?
No,
Like, what,
no,
what?
it's my way of saying it's not possible.
Yeah, no, I got you. All right, folks, we got some big college football coming up this weekend. This weekend, that's really when it gets serious here. And we're talking a little Ole Miss right now. They're going to take on LSU on Saturday. They're going to host LSU. This is going to be a big time matchup. LSU, number 4 in the nation, both teams undefeated. And listen, Ole Miss, they've got them a new quarterback, and he's been looking really good, Blake.
Yeah, Trinidad Chambliss is obviously going to be the starting quarterback this week, and no surprise there. I'm still an Austin Simmons fan, but the reality
Yeah.
is on the field so far, Trinidad has played better. And obviously, it sucks because Austin's hurt too, so he doesn't really have the
Yeah.
ability to show. But he struggled. He threw 2 picks in the first 2 games, each of them. What a week, though. For Landry Kiffin, the coach's daughter, to announce her boyfriend on Instagram with the LSU linebacker the week of this game is insane. I mean, I don't think people realize you have the Lane Kiffin documentary coming out. You got his daughter
That's
talking.
right.
Yeah, you got his daughter talking about her boyfriend who's on LSU, which hey, congratulations to them. You got his son playing at Oxford. I think he scored a touchdown a couple weeks ago for Oxford.
That's right. That's right.
So talk about the Kiffin family and just a lot of first. But when we talk about the exact game, the game itself, Ole Miss is favored. Ole Miss is favored, and the opening line was 2.5. They were favored by 2.5. Do you want to know what game they were opening line favored 2.5 last year for too as well?
Was that the Georgia game? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah.
Absolutely. Exactly. This is the same exact scenario where they're playing a top 5, top 10 team, and
Mm-hmm.
they're a 2.5 point favorite because they're at home, which, by the way, usually 3 points is what, the betting odds give to teams that are home. So they kind of feel like on a neutral site, this is kind of a toss up game. Now, if it was at LSU, I think LSU would be favored by 2.5, 3. So they're saying that these two teams are neck and neck. Lucky for Ole Miss, they have the game at home.
They do, and we saw a lot of discussion about this. I wanted you to weigh in on this, Blake. They were asking Lane Kiffin about how he felt about this game being in the daytime again when he's hosting, and he was like, "I can guarantee you that if it was in LSU, it would be at night." What do you think about that? And what, like, I know that these coaches, they're making a big deal out of hosting at night. What is it about hosting at night that gives a team more of an advantage? I've been trying to think about why that would be the case.
I to be honest with you, I think it's just that people get drunker. And by the time the night game rolls around, people are just so amped. They've been waiting all day. You know the theme song from Monday Night Football and Sunday Night, waiting all day for a Sunday night, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like the build up all day for that game, and the atmosphere, the lights. You can get the light show going, and it looks way better. The crowd is going. It's easier to get to night games. I mean, it's tougher to leave because there's more people usually. And the tailgate just gets so rowdy because they've been doing it all day long. But at the same time, I think Lane Kiffin was slightly wrong on that one. I don't see how they would have done the night game because Alabama, Georgia just
Yeah.
has a bigger national feel to it. I mean, no disrespect to Ole Miss, but if we're putting on the national scale, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss would be fourth. I don't know where we put those top three, but reality is they are the fourth probably most notoriety of those big schools.
Yeah.
Maybe they get there, right? But Alabama, Georgia, those are two of the three, four biggest SEC schools. That was going to be a night game. It just is. It was a night game last year. It was going to be a night game this year.
And as far as notoriety is concerned, that is definitely true. Of course, even though LSU and Ole Miss are each ranked higher than Georgia and Alabama, respectively. However, that's going to be a big game as well. Ole Miss. So, Blake, what is your take on it? What is your call? What is your prediction on Ole Miss and LSU?
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is actually going to win this game. I feel very confident about it too. No, I wouldn't bet the mustache on it, but I feel really confident about Ole Miss because again, they had this game last year in the Georgia Bulldogs. And yes, Georgia by name, two-time defending or not defending, but two-time national champion in the last
Yep.
5 years. I'd argue that that Georgia team is better than this year's LSU team. So if Ole Miss plays like they did and that defense gets after them, and to be honest with you, does LSU's close win over Clemson even look good anymore? Like, what's Clemson's best win
No,
anymore?
it does
I,
not.
I mean,
It
I, and that's not saying that LSU could win this game. I mean, of course. I mean, that's a solid football. That's a top
yeah.
25 football team. But I just think Ole Miss is a better football team. Just on any given day, any given Saturday, on the moon, at in Oxford, in Baton Rouge, I just feel like they're a better football team.
I agree with you, and I'm going to go a step further. I think Ole Miss beats LSU down. I think it's
Really,
31 to
yeah.
10.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, because I'm thinking 31-10 because now, listen, with Trinidad Chambliss, I've been very impressed with what he's been able to do. Through the air and on the ground. He's very poised, and this Ole Miss offense has looked very strong with him leading it. And then LSU kind of has a tough time scoring points. I mean, it's kind of
Which
surprising.
is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising with Nussmeier as their quarterback, and there's a lot of hype going into the season. But they had a tough time scoring points on Clemson. They had a tough time scoring points on Florida. If we're really, you know, we saw Brian Kelly get very frustrated with a reporter asking him about his offense. But I thought that was a legitimate question, especially given the fact that Florida's 1-3. So I just have, I'm not a big LSU believer, so to speak. I think Ole Miss wins around 31 to 10. That's my prediction.
If you're an LSU fan, what your argument's gonna be is, look, we're undefeated, and maybe we just played down, and we have another gear, another level to go to. I just haven't seen it yet.
Maybe.
I've seen Ole Miss take that next step. I mean, look, Tulane is not LSU. I'm sorry, Tulane's a
No.
solid non-power four, but they're just not in the same athlete class as LSU. But I've seen Ole Miss hit on all cylinders on offense against Tulane. I've seen them hit all cylinders against Arkansas offensively. That first half, the only reason that they, won that game was because they couldn't stop Arkansas for a good 30 minutes was because that offense they couldn't stop them either. I mean, Ole Miss has played, now thinking about it, I mean, 8, 9, 9, 10 straight quarters of really good offensive football. Like straight.
Yeah, they have. They've been very impressive. So Ole Miss LSU, that'll be on 2:30 on Saturday. This is an exciting weekend of football because now we're talking about the other major SEC Mississippi team. That's Mississippi State. And they're coming off a 38 to 10 win over Northern Illinois, which is something they needed to do, and they did, and they took care of business there at home. Now they host Tennessee. Tennessee ranked number 15 in the country. Tennessee coming in with a 3-1 record. Only loss being to Georgia in overtime. Not a bad loss at all. Except for the
Yeah, I
fact that
mean,
they
yeah.
had the game in the bag. And they,
Right,
but
right.
other,
And I lost
yeah.
my bet. And I lost my bet. I was going to win a lot of money that Saturday. I still won money that Saturday, but man, I missed out like 3 times what I could have won it because I had some Tennessees and some parlays. I mean, I had all kinds of stuff. Oh, that kick just kills me.
Yeah, well, so Tennessee lost to Georgia then, but Tennessee's a very strong team coming into Starkville. Obviously, Mississippi State on a 4-0 start, and I think the Bulldogs look good. I think they can make this game be something that makes it a toss up. I just have I have a tough time. These are my Bulldogs here, and I want them to win this game. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't think they're going to get smoked.
There's two sides to this. If you're Mississippi State, and this was my opinion, Mississippi State would have been better off beating Tennessee had Tennessee beat Georgia. Because now Tennessee is in the spot where they have one more loss to play with. And they have some good teams on their schedule later, post Mississippi State.
Yeah,
Tennessee has to win this game. Mississippi
yeah,
State
I'd say so.
has already surpassed last year. So when we're talking about the mental aspect of it, unless Jeff Lebby gets his inner Dan Campbell and convinces all the Bulldogs, players that this is life or death, the reality is this game is more important to Tennessee and what their goals are of making the college football playoff. The importance for Mississippi State is building off 4-0, beating Arizona State, competing week in and week out where there's no more blowouts. The offense always looks good. The defense, starts to come around towards the season because the defense still, to me, hasn't played, up to par. So I think Tennessee's probably going to win this game by 10. But it comes into, can Mississippi State play well, right? Can they
Yeah.
keep it within 3 points entering the fourth quarter, and just Tennessee ripped off 10 straight, okay, we were in it. Could Mississippi State win? I just have a hard time envisioning it. Like I say, like with I'm picking Ole Miss, but I can see every aspect of LSU winning that game. I mean, I can envision it. I think Mississippi State, it's going to be tough to win this game. It's just going to be tough.
Yeah, and I think that's my problem is envisioning them winning this game. But if they do win this game, I mean, it'd be great. It'd be great for the team. When I see this Mississippi State team, I see a 7-5 team. That's what I see personally.
Wow. I mean, that
I
would be that would be a really good year.
that'd be a very good year. I think Jeff Lebby would look very good after a 7-5 season this year. And you don't have to win this game to get that done. I just think Tennessee. I mean, listen, I watched them play Georgia and they fumbled the bag at the end, but they still looked pretty good. They still
They
looked like
look
a really.
they look really good.
It looked like a really good football team. And I have a tough time picking Mississippi State to win this game. I'm thinking Tennessee's probably going to win it, but I think Mississippi State's going to make it a contest. I do not think the Volunteers are going to come in and smoke Mississippi State at Davis Wade Stadium.
I love giving this take. It's a must play well for Mississippi State. It's not a must win. Obviously, it's not a must win, but it's a must play well. However, I see, my good friend John, he runs Mississippi Sports Facebook, and he posed a question. If Mississippi State wins this week and Ole Miss wins this week, could there be a path to both teams being 9-2 entering the Egg Bowl week and playing for one of the college football playoff spots?
Yeah, yeah. I think
Sorry, I'm like coughing. I wasn't sure if I wanted to say that.
I see. I saw that as well. I just have a tough time with that because here's the thing. I could see I have a tough time envisioning Mississippi State winning this game. But even if Mississippi State does win this game, I don't
Their
think we're a
schedule's brutal.
playoff team.
Their schedule's brutal.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so brutal.
like if we win this game, I'm starting to think 8-4 because I think we're going 7-5. If we win this game, I'm thinking 8-4. But 8-4 is not a playoff team. I still don't think 10-2. I can't see it.
Hold on. Kelly Ford does a power rating and resume rating on Twitter. It's something that you should go check out because it said that Mississippi State, if they went 8-4, they will be in the discussion for the college football playoff, depending on what happens around them, because their strength of schedule would be so insane
It
that
is
you would
pretty high.
have to. Now, if there's four SEC teams that have two losses, it's gonna and three
Yeah.
with three, right? Like at some point, the math kind of probably pushes them out. But if they could be 9-3, 8-4, according to the Kelly Ford rating, they're all over the discussion. And they're one of the few teams. I think they were the only team that said if they won 8 games because of their schedule, they would be in discussion. Because you could look. I understand Arizona State's not the same team as last year that made the college football playoff. No, it's Cam Scattaboo, who looked really good with the Giants, by the way.
Yeah, he does.
But at the same time, that's still a quality win. It's still
Oh,
a
for sure.
quality
Yeah.
win. And so, really interesting. I mean, look, Mississippi State wins this week. We're rethinking a lot. We're doing an instant reaction podcast.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. See, the thing is, as a Mississippi State fan, if we go 8-4, we're going to be ecstatic. Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
yeah.
That's a great that's a great jump from 2-10. That's for sure.
Well, if
Um,
you go, yeah, did you guys know that you guys have only, Mississippi State, I say you guys, Mississippi State
yeah,
has only been over 500 one time in conference play. That means 5 or 3 and better, 5 and 3. So not counting 4 and 4, but 5 and 3 and better, one time since 2000 in conference.
yeah, yeah,
And that was the Dak Prescott year that they were number one at one point in 14. But so 4 and 4 is near the cap of what Mississippi State has been since 2000. Now, obviously, they want to blow through that cap, but 4 and 4 in
yeah.
conference would be Mike Leach level of success in his last year. So
Definitely,
interesting,
def.
but with a harder schedule. With a harder schedule.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because this new SEC and also Mississippi State's schedule in this new SEC. I mean, it's something else there. Want to talk a little bit. Listen, let's jump right on into Alabama and Georgia now, because this is a huge, huge game. Alabama lost the first week to Florida State, and at first, the thought is, oh man, Alabama, they're reaching a new low. Goodness gracious, Florida State was 2-10 last year, but ever since then, they've looked good to me. Like I think I think Florida State's just a really good team, and Alabama still looks good. So I think Alabama's still a great football team. Now they take on Georgia, who's won every game that they've played. They're 3-0, and it's at Georgia. It's going to be tough for Alabama, but you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm taking Alabama because the thing is that I think they're very motivated. I think they've caught their stride. I think they've got rhythm. And I think they knock off the Georgia Bulldogs on the road, even though that proves to be extremely difficult to beat Georgia on the road.
Yeah, but at the same time, Kirby Smart, I think Alabama might be the only school in the conference that he has a losing record against. I
Yeah,
understand a lot of those years were with Nick Saban, and obviously,
yeah, yeah,
most
yeah.
people are going to.
That's it.
But he lost to Kalen DeBoer last year. So
Yep.
they struggled with Alabama. I don't think that's a wild pick. I'm going to take Georgia. I'm a big Kirby Smart fan. Not
Yeah.
how he controls his team when it comes to racing cars and driving recklessly, but I'm a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
Kirby Smart fan, the football coach. And I think Georgia's going to win this game, like you said, with the advantage. But Alabama, they've looked solid. But wow, Kalen DeBoer taking, I understand they've looked better, but being 3-2 in the first 5 is a killer, especially how they finished last year.
Yeah, so we got Auburn and Texas A&M. Auburn coming off a tough loss there to Oklahoma, and now Oklahoma's future is in jeopardy with John Mateer being
And the
hurt.
Heisman. I thought he was the Heisman favorite.
Me too. Me too. So that's kind of interesting that we've seen there that development. Auburn's 3-1, and now they're going on the road again, taking on Texas A&M, and that's a really tough place to play on the road. Texas A&M, and they're 3-0. The Aggies are. I've got the Aggies winning this game over Auburn. I think that Auburn's a solid team, but I don't think they're a top tier SEC team. Whereas Texas A&M is threatening to be a top tier SEC team at the moment. They are, but I wouldn't believe it until I see them beat some of the top teams in the SEC. But I take Texas A&M in this ball game.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze probably feels like they could have beat Oklahoma had the SEC officials actually ref the game correctly and called that flag on Oklahoma. But the reality is I still don't think they did enough to win that game. Now you could make the case that would change the whole dynamic of the game. I get it. I'm just not a ref hater, so they're gonna make mistakes from time to
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
beat the team so good that you don't let the refs matter. I think Texas A&M is going to win this game. I've been super impressed. There's no doubt. I'm a big Notre Dame fan, and when they dropped 41 on Marcus Freeman's defense, I was sold. I was locked in. I said, "Oh, this is a real football team."
Yeah.
Big Texas A&M, Mike Elko, and I just think they got it. I'm really impressed with Texas A&M. They're a possible playoff team.
Well, speaking of Notre Dame, and they are taking on Arkansas, and they're taking on Arkansas on the road. Notre Dame's in a tough position, man, because they lost to Miami the first game, which Miami's a very good team. They're top five, so I mean Miami, that's not a bad loss. Then they lose to Texas A&M, which they're top 10. So both those losses are not bad losses, but just their position not being in a conference might come back to bite them this year because they could finish out 10-2 and still miss the playoff. Or do you think that they would make the playoff if they finish 10-2?
They're in with 10-2. They got a good schedule. I mean, look, USC's ranked now, and if their two losses, we're assuming they win 10 straight to finish the season like they did last year.
Yeah.
If their two losses are combined 4 points to Miami on the road and Texas A&M, and both those teams make the playoff, I think Notre Dame with 10 straight wins to finish the season because losing late somehow penalizes you more than losing early. They don't juggle it the same, right? Like let's say you lose
And
week
you
3 to a
can't.
team. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess, but is
Yeah.
it your resume or is it what have you done for me lately? It seems like you're just picking and choosing what you do.
What
In my opinion, you win 10 straight. What have you done for me lately? Well, Notre Dame's one of the hottest teams in the country, and they're 10-2 with their two losses being to top 10 teams by 4 points combined. Yeah, they're in, and they're going
Yeah,
to beat
yeah.
Arkansas.
I definitely think they're going to beat Arkansas. Okay, I gotta say. And that will be on the road for Notre Dame. But what I was gonna say is I actually agree with the logic of waiting. What have you done for me lately? And this is why. It's not because recent's more important than early on. It's more so because of injuries and just how your team goes along the season. You don't want to put a team that has lost their last two games, and those are the games they've lost into the playoff, a team that's just bad now. They might have used to be good, but they might have had some guys hurt, or their team might be trending in a bad direction. You'd rather have the hot teams in at the end. So I do think that it should be weighted that way a little bit because the postseason is happening at the end of the season. It's not happening at the beginning. You want the best teams at the end of the season.
No, I get it, and that's the reality. I mean, whether I
Yeah.
like it or not, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, no, most definitely. We saw it that year with when Florida State was left out.
Lost trap, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they, even though they won every game, but they were trending in a bad direction. They were about to get stomped in the playoff if they would have made the playoff. But they still should have made the playoff because they were undefeated. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
yeah. So, but anyway, so let's get back to a little bit of Mississippi action here. We're going to talk a little USM. They're going to take on Jacksonville State, I do believe. Yep, Jack State. 2-2. Each team's 2-2. USM back at home again. This will be their fifth game of the season and fourth home game. Listen, USM started off. I do believe Jacksonville State. Forgive me for not knowing for sure. I believe that this is a Sun Belt game.
Yeah.
This is a Sun Belt game. This is their second one. They're 1-0 in Sun Belt play. They came off a loss to Louisiana Tech. They had a strong second half, though. They went down 30-10 in the first half. 10-0 was the second half score in favor of the Golden Eagles. They lose 30-20. Blake, what are you thinking about USM heading into this game? I know that, listen, riding off that game against Appalachian State, they were looking pretty good in that game. They beat them 38-22. A little bit of a letdown on the road against Louisiana Tech because that's kind of the level of competition that goes on in the Sun Belt. But now they host Jacksonville State. What are you thinking?
Well, I think first off, Southern Miss is going to win the game. I think it's really important, and I know Coach Huff has talked about this. The fans showing up, showing out, being engaged.
Mm-hmm.
How that can be a home field advantage. Well, this is another week that you got to come out. I mean, if you want your program to be good at football, you need to come to home games, and you need to come to home games when they're showing improvement as a program because they've already
Yeah.
surpassed last year's win total. I mean, I think we all assumed they were going to win more than one game, but if you're going to be a program that is sustainable, that's going to be big, the fans need to show up. And so the fans need to show up for Jacksonville State. Southern Miss is favored. I do think that they win a close game. I think that their quarterback is starting to play better. I think the whole team is starting to play better. So I feel good about Southern Miss.
Yes, I agree. I think USM wins this game at home at the Rock. Then we got Jackson State taking on Southern, and I think Jackson State's going to stomp them.
Stomp
Uh,
them.
Absolutely. And this will be on the road. And I'm liking these Jackson State Tigers. I think they're a great team. Their only losses to USM, and they showed well in that game as well. Listen, Jackson State might not lose another game.
They might, but I don't think so. I mean, look, last year they lost to Grambling when I thought there was no chance they could lose to Grambling. I know it ended up not being, meaningful for the conference, but this game, no, Southern has no shot. I mean, Southern has no shot. I don't care where this game is being played. Southern has shown nothing this year that tells me they're a good football team. They're all right. They're all right. But Jack State's a great football team in the FCS. They're a ranked FCS team. They're the best team in the SWAC. Southern has no shot. There are teams that are at Southern's caliber that could maybe knock off JSU, asleep for a week, but not Southern because in a rivalry game like this where Jack State is going to be up for the game, they have no shot. They have no shot because Jack State's going to be ready.
Yes, I think the Tigers win this game. We'll talk a little Alcorn. They're taking on Arkansas Pine Bluff. Alcorn's
They
0
get a win.
3.
They get a win. They get a win this week.
Yeah, well, see, and I'd pick them as well because they're playing Arkansas Pine Bluff, who's 1-2. They're hosting this game. I think Alcorn can show out, grab them their first win of the season. Just kind of been a down year for Alcorn, but I think they're going to be able to take this one this week.
Yeah, the Braves win this game because one, if they don't, they are a bottom feeder in the conference this year because Arkansas Pine Bluff is a bottom feeder in the SWAC. They're one of those teams that you can expect at the bottom 3, 4 every single year, if not bottom 2 or 1, being the worst team. So Arkansas Pine Bluff is a must win for coach, for Alcorn, the fans, everything. This is a must win.
Yeah, so that kind of wraps up our talking about these this upcoming week as far as the Mississippi teams here. One more SEC game that we did not talk about is Kentucky and South Carolina. Not a big time game if you're talking about on the national stage, but I do think it's a big game for each of these two teams. Because Kentucky, their one loss is to Ole Miss, and they didn't even do that badly in the game. Okay, South Carolina not feeling too good right now because listen, they gave Missouri a good game, but after that Vanderbilt loss, even though Vanderbilt and Missouri are both, they've shown to be good teams. I mean, those aren't terrible losses, but they lost them both. And the Vanderbilt loss was bad because it was at home and they lost by a lot. Now they're hosting Kentucky. I've got Kentucky winning this game. I think Kentucky's going to go ahead and put South Carolina out of their misery and just go ahead and sink their season here. I think the Wildcats get that done. I think Kentucky's a very solid team. I told you this earlier in the year, Blake, that I think Kentucky's an underrated football program and an underrated fan base as well. Because, listen, they're into football. It's a basketball school, but they are into football. And I think they're also well coached as well. I think Kentucky beat South Carolina on Saturday.
I'm gonna take South Carolina because
Okay.
I still think they're a solid football team. They're not great. They can't be great. I still think they're a solid football team. Yeah, but Stoops is a great coach at Kentucky. I'm a big fan of Stoops. I mean, guy
Yeah.
does a lot with less. And for South Carolina, their inability to run the ball is just horrendous. I mean, it's horrendous. And when you have a quarterback like they do, like Lenore Sellers, you'd think that they'd be able to run just because of what he can do as a thrower. And they cannot move the ball at all on
Yeah.
the ground. It is disgusting. I think they win this game. However, they're going to have to win out. I mean, they're in that spot where they're going to have to win, every game out to probably make the playoffs because they're too. I mean, the Vanderbilt losses. I love Vandy. Cool, it's awesome. But at the end of the day, Vandy's not going to be a top 10 team. I think it's not going to be a top 10 team. So, and Missouri, maybe they can get around there. I mean, Missouri's kind of impressed me. Ahmad Hardy from Lawrence County, shout out to him. He's one of the best running backs
Yeah.
in the country, and he's from Mississippi. So I'm taking South Carolina only because they recover, but I don't feel good. I don't feel good.
Yeah, so last question before we get out of here, Blake. Looking at all these games from this week, to you, which team is in the most must-win situation?
Probably Jackson State if we're talking, because remember they got to win their side and have tiebreakers and conference record, all that kind of stuff. And then by the way, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, same kind of deal, right? They're Southern Miss, they're all kind of Southern Miss is not going to win their conference. But we want to win. Every team wants to win. I think Ole Miss can lose this game and still make the college football playoff. I think
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State can play really well and lose this game and feel really good at the end of the day, like, hey, we competed. Jackson State losing this game, and it could really derail their season. So I think it's a must win for Jackson State the most.
Okay, yeah, no, I see what you're saying there, and I know that you're talking about Mississippi teams. You're comparing the Mississippi teams there. Um, I would agree with you that out of the Mississippi teams, Jackson State would be the case. But out of all these teams that we're talking about, like including in the SEC, I'm thinking it's
Alabama, probably
Tennessee.
Alabama.
Oh,
Ooh, I think
Alabama.
it. Oh, well,
Yeah,
okay. Well, yeah. Okay, yeah. Tennessee, that makes sense.
because the thing about Alabama is that I think it's possible that Alabama loses to Georgia and they win all the rest of their games and they're in the conversation because they're 10-2, and if especially Florida State continues to play well, you have Florida State and Georgia on the road, both are losses, and then you win the rest of the games. I think they're in the conversation. Tennessee it's over with. I think. I think
I
I
mean,
think
that's
it
fair. I mean, that's a
I
fair
think it's
argument.
over with. Um, well, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But listen, Saturday is going to be very interesting. A lot of great college football. I would say this is probably the best week so far this season. It only gets better from here, though. Folks, thank you for joining us on the Magnolia Shine podcast. Hit the subscribe button. Also, turn the notifications on so that you know when we post right here on this YouTube channel. Also, like and share with anyone who may be interested. Also, follow our Facebook page. We've got a lot of information on there regarding Mississippi high school sports and Mississippi college sports as well. Anything Mississippi sports, you're going to want to follow the Magnolia Shine podcast. Blake Levine alongside myself, Trellis Williams, and until next time, which will be tomorrow, Thursday, we'll talk high school sports for this upcoming week. I'm Trellis Williams. We out.